love it. Love it. That is just on fire Super Saiyan. That's the new nickname I'm giving him. Julian at Super Saiyan John. He'll be playing some Tron against him. This is a classic Modern matchup.
Yes.
One of my favorites. Let's zoom it in. Let's watch it unfold. We'll see who's on the play.
Ran into 2 of these gentlemen in the casino last night.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Expedition map. Via Urza's
Actually,
power
no,
plant.
I'm sorry, 3, because I also saw Job.
Well, of the 3, he was the most likely to be found. Mr. Job loves himself some pocher.
No, he was just chilling.
Just hanging?
Just hanging.
Nice. A forest, an ancient stirring is here for Julian John. So no turn 3 Tron. There's the Tower of Power, so it will be turn 4 Tron if that's what Julian would like. He's also got a follow-up there in Relic of Progenitus. We're going over to Brian now. He's got a Vial on 1. Cavern of Souls, of course, named humans. As I've said so many times this weekend, and Thomas, Basoco, and Job have already won an Open. That's a Champion of the Parish and a Thalia. Pass the turn back. We're going over to Julian John, who will draw. We know he's got Nurse's Tower in hand. He'll play that Tower of Power. Looks like he's prepared to pass the turn back. Curious if he has any payoffs in hand for Tron next turn. We'll find out soon enough. As we go over to Brian, he's got a Vial on 2. That's an unclaimed territory. This looks like it might be Militia Bugler. Triggers, plural. 1 for the Bugler, 1 for the Champion. So the Champion will resolve first, the Bugler will resolve second. Top 4, Freebooter, Hierarch, Reflector Mage, Meddling Mage.
This our resident humans expert. What do you like between? I'm assuming it's between Freebooter and Meddling Mage.
It is.
What do you like?
Freebooter.
But aren't you really? I guess you're not going to Meddling Mage Worm Coil Engine, right? Worm Coil is going to be good regardless.
It's not even good.
Because you have Reflector Mage. So
yeah, it's just not even good.
Okay.
So I don't want to play the guessing game against them with Meddling Mage. If I name Oblivion Stone, they have Ugin, I'm dead. If I do the other, I'm dead. If they have if they have Walking Ballista, pretty sure I'm just dead anyway. Doesn't matter. But this lets me know for sure for future Meddling Mages, assuming there are future Meddling Mages, which there could be. So get your info. That's
3 Karns.
Yep. So here, I will say, I would not have played the Freebooter in the main phase.
Yeah, you want to do that in the draw step?
I want to do the draw step because Julian's going to crack his map, get a land, and then he's going to crack his relic.
Yeah, he's going to get
for sure.
Right.
And then he's going to draw a card, and that extra point of damage is most likely not as relevant as
sniping the best
sniping the Ugin or the O-Stone were he to draw one.
Yep.
So I don't like that Freebooter play.
Do you think there's an argument for you're not that worried about sniping Oblivion Stone? Like, the extra point doesn't really matter all that much. You're not that worried about Ugin or Oblivion Stone because you have Thalia.
I guess
he can't do it next turn.
Okay, that's reasonable.
And the extra point might be just enough to kill him depending on how things break.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Because 3, 4, 5.
It's
6,
basically
7,
like
8,
a Manus Rider plus
10.
another human is now lethal. It would not be the other way.
Well, if you're short a point, Julian would be at 15. And so if I were to play Lieutenant, if I were to play Manus Rider and then Lieutenant, that means my champion would be 3, 4, 5, 6 power. So it's a 4/4, so 3/3, so it'd be 6 power.
All my point is that Oblivion Stone and Ugin are not necessarily a crisis next turn because of your Thalia.
Sure. I guess Oblivion Stone isn't a crisis, assuming I'm ending the game the next turn.
But that gets back to, now what's the value of the extra point you just got?
Sure.
And it depends on what's in his hand and what he's drawing to and all that.
So that's problematic.
Yeah, this is really bad.
But this is the one you couldn't do anything about.
Right, there's nothing to be done about this.
Because Meddling Mage, Meddling Mage, you're probably not going to name this.
I don't think you're just going to meddle. You're going to. I don't buy that you're meddling maging Walking Ballista in the dark, especially when John had a window to just play Ballista and kill your Thalia. Like, not that you would necessarily do that, but there's an argument that you would have already seen Walking Ballista if it was there.
Well, I guess what I would say is, if we're going back to Ugin and Oblivion Stone not being a crisis, then you name the card that actually does something on this turn, which is Walking Ballista as a 4/4. Because if the opponent plays O-Stone, or plays, they can't play Ugin, and they can't play O-Stone and blow it.
Yep.
So the one thing they can interact, there's two ways they can interact with you then, which is Karn, which you probably don't care about that much, and Ballista is better at interacting with you than Karn is.
Yep.
So maybe you're supposed to take Meddling Mage and name Ballista, because that's actually the best thing that they can do.
Sure. Yeah, I don't, it's confusing. The Thalia makes it much, that spot, I think, a lot trickier than it typically is. Because normally the 8s are just, you just can't let those 8s resolve. And last turn it would not have been that bad for Basoco for John to have either of those cards in his hand.
Now this is actually going to be a pretty good exchange here for Brian. He's going to Meddling Mage, he's going to Reflector Mage the Ballista, and Julian wants to respond, it looks like, by trying to kill something.
I would imagine it's the Freebooter. Could just be the Bugler if all you care about is the amount of damage you're taking.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of interesting because he's trying to figure out what he wants to kill, and Basoco actually has Lieutenant in hand, so if he puts it all towards the Bugler, it would end up going poorly, but it's going to go towards the Freebooter, kill that, and this ends up going fine for Julian.
As you can now mage the Karn, you have a few, obviously, really powerful cards to fade.
I think Brian may have missed his trigger on Reflector Mage with the champion. I don't know if he announced it or not, but I think he missed. Yeah, this is why we have the pause. Because he should have got a counter on it from Reflector Mage to bring it up to 4, and then 2 counters on it from Lieutenant, and then Lieutenant entering the battlefield, and that's why we got a judge call. Not sure if he announced the Reflector Mage counter or not.
Yep.
That's what I think these players will be talking about. David Long's up a game in Legacy, by the way, folks. I think it's a pretty tough matchup there for David Thomas. I'm all out of words to say now. I think I got it all out of my body.
Yeah, and now we wait.
This matchup is, you would think that a matchup where your opponent can have turn 3 Tron, you have to interact. Like you have to put a lot of pressure on them, but also disrupt them. How complicated could it be? Because what your opponent's doing is so straightforward. You have a lot of decisions to make with your sequencing as a humans player.
Well, you're always walking that tightrope of, how do I get it right on the nose where I win as fast as possible while providing as much disruption as I can along the way. Because if you lean too heavily in either direction, it's very easy to lose. And that makes the game very tricky. And it often comes down to things like, on that previous turn, what's the value of Freebooter in their draw step getting the right card versus that point of damage? That's a really hard thing to quantify.
Yeah, if you're wrong, you lose.
Yep.
Because if an O-Stone goes off or Dugan goes off, there's really, for the most part, no coming back.
Right.
All right, so it looks like Brian got all the counters.
And right now, Basoco has lethal even if the champion gets Karn. He comes across for exactly lethal, I believe.
Yeah, we'll get that. Well, yeah, opponent's at 4.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
More.
If that life total is correct, the opponent's and Julian's at 4, then lethal's easy. So that means it's Ugin or O-Stone time. Karn's nonsense. Ballista mostly is nonsense. Wormcoil would block champion.
Wormcoil's good here.
Wormcoil would block champion. You go to 10, and then you take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But
that assumes nothing else.
Right, but that could be good.
Yeah.
Depending on what's left over.
And these are all the questions you have to ask yourself when you're playing humans against Tron.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so how good is Karn right now? On this battlefield, horrible. How good is Oblivion Stone? Probably I lose. How good is Ugin? I probably lose. How good is Ballista? I think I can beat it. How good is Wormcoil? It's annoying, but I might be able to beat it. Causes some problems. And then how good is Ulamog? Like, if Ulamog were to come down, it would kill Champion, and it would kill probably Reflector Mage.
Because it cuts off image.
And then it would block Bugler, and then I would take at least 1, but potentially more, depending on what goes on Brian's turn.
Right, like if you Ulamog here, you're dead to Manus Rider, for example.
Yes, absolutely. Now it's time to have a chit-chat with Zan. This is weirdly one of my favorite matchups in the format.
Yeah, because it looks like both decks are super straightforward and linear with no play, and
they are not.
The game is so different than that.
Stirrings. Trying to spike an O-Stone, perhaps? Ding, 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 ding,
Yep.
ding.
Ding, 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 ding. And at 4, it's really important here because that means a Manus Rider is not good enough to get you. Not that he has to do anything just now. He can wait until. Nothing can really go wrong here. Can afford to allow John to go into combat.
And now things start to get extra tough. O-Stone's going to clean it all up. Now, if you're Brian, you gotta reassemble the battlefield, knowing that Karn can kill something. That's not it. That ain't it.
But, you know, it's still possible for John to get punked out from the spot, you know. So you want to insulate yourself. The top of the list has got to be Manus Rider.
Mm-hmm.
You're at 4, which is nice. You got a little bit of margin for error, but you want to make sure that you can't be beat by something like running Manus Riders off the top, which is why I like with John starting here with the Walking Ballista. He's now covered for Manus Rider. It's not a concern. And Basoco's going to tap out.
Julian John's going to win game number 1 here over Brian Basoco. Mono Green Tron is up a game over Humans, and now you can actually you can retrace the footsteps of, did Brian do something wrong in that game? Was he supposed to take Freebooter or was he supposed to take Meddling Mage? Initially, we felt that the call was supposed to be Freebooter.
Yeah.
You think about it a little bit more with the Thalia, meaning that 8-mana spells wouldn't have an impact on the battlefield right away. Perhaps he's supposed to take Meddling Mage, name Walking Ballista. You're beating Karn. You're not scared of Ugin. You're not scared of Ugin because it can't be cast. O-Stone can't be played and blown up. And then Wormcoil Engine is annoying, but I think he had a Reflector Mage at the time.
Yeah, he was covered against Wormcoil Engine.
And then he can't cast through them all.
Yeah.
There you go. Sideboard time. 3 Nature's Claim, 3 Spatial Contortion, 3 Thragtusk, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Thought-Out Seer, Emrakul the Promised End, and a Graph Digger's Cage, Patrick.
So definitely want the Spatial Contortions. The creatures are always an interesting, case study for me in this matchup. Some people like Thragtusk. I'm neutral on it, but it's probably good enough to bring in. I also don't mind the Emrakul in this matchup because combat can get a little sticky sometimes. Might be better than one of his other top-end cards.
Other side of things here for Brian, 2 Graph Digger's Cage, 2 Gaddock Teague, 2 Warlord Rogue, 2 Sin Collector, 2 Knight of Autumn, 2 Izzet Staticaster, 2 Auriok Champion, and a Dismember.
I like the Knight of Autumn's just fine. I like the Gaddock Teagues, and that's about it.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
That sounds about right. There's not a ton to be done here for Brian. So he's already sideboarding. I'm sure he's played this matchup plenty, and we'll see what ends up happening. As these players finish it up, shuffle up, and we'll get game number 2 underway here in just a moment. I want to talk about the weekly sale one more time this week, and that's what I want to do, because you can save up to 33% off select casual and commander favorites, like a favorite card of mine when I was growing up, Solemn Simulacrum.
Yeah, and you can head over to go.SCGVEGAS.com/weekly sale. You want to head over there tonight to get an opportunity for 33% off select casual and commander favorites, and then you want to go back there tomorrow, 11 a.m. East Coast time, when the website is updated with a new sales category, again, over at go.StarCityGames.com/weekly sale.
You see the scoreboard there, David Long, David Thomas. Long won very quickly, I'm sure, by assembling a 2020 Merit Lage token, with our Azorius Stone player not having a Swords to Plowshares. And then Zan Syed and Jonathan Job, they are still grinding it out. Zan Syed rubbing his temples. He must be deep in thought with his Golgari mid-range deck against Jonathan Job, who we can't see. But he's had a really, really good weekend with his Izzet Drake deck. So there you go. That's where we're at here in round number 15.
Been really good Magic. Been enjoying both the level of competition and the diversity in all the formats.
I'm excited to just play some Magic, honestly. This weekend, when I'm in Cleveland for Thanksgiving, I'm just gonna fire up the Magic Online machine.
I know.
Like all day Friday and Saturday.
I know.
Yeah. Take a little me time, okay? It's good to take some me time. I could use some.
Sort of interested in playing Standard. The problem is, This is not to begrudge anyone's purchases or interests or anything like that.
But you're about to.
No, just for my own taste. Just I'll be dead in the cold ground before I buy, $25 mythic creatures that are 4 mana, like flyers and stuff. Never doing that. Never doing that. Won't do it. Can't do it.
Like what? Like
We're kindling. Like
Oh,
we're kindling. Yeah,
there's
there's no chance of it. I'm never going to spend, $100 on place of kindling fixes. It's never going to happen. You know how many alpha skate zombies you can buy with $100? I'd rather do that. Or Pearl Unicorn. I got an Alpha Goblin King recently. Shout out to Kyle Montgomery for flagging that down for me. So
Kyle came on?
Yeah, he came through at Eternal Weekend, so I got a display now of I got an Alpha Goblin King, a Goblin Balloon Brigade, and Mons Goblin Raiders. The gang's all there. Alpha White Knight and Black Knight display for each of those. And that's not cheap. You get to choose. You get to be a Rekindling Phoenix type of person or a Mons Goblin Raiders type of person.
We are who we are.
We are.
As you can buy 3.33 near mint Pearl Unicorns apparently.
And I might.
With $100. How many Ristic Studies could you buy?
On sale? Like on the sale price? I don't know. Not that many.
Yeah.
Surprisingly few.
Yeah. Commander Fun Police right there.
Right.
Which I dig. I like that a lot. I want to play some competitive Commander at some point in my life.
Yeah. $100 is either, play set of Rekindling Phoenixes or one mountain.
One mountain it is.
One mountain it is.
Yep. Sign me up. Well, as you know, game number 2 about to be underway here between Julian John and Brian Basoco. Don't forget, you get to vote on the quarterfinals after this round is over. We'll announce our top 8 players along with the decks that they're playing. And to halfway through our hour-long break, and then we'll analyze the quarterfinals and bring them to you and that match that you wanted to see. Some really, really good teams making the top 8 here. You also get to have some fun with some custom emoticons and badges, which we will continue to add to given the Versus Live series as well, both hosted at twitch.tv/SCG Tour. So join the feature match area, people. Have some fun. Keep it civil, though. John going to 6 cards here. Let's learn a little bit more about Julian John. Super Saiyan Julian John. Wow, it's more on fire there than it is now.
Mixes it up.
Yeah, 21-year-old from Orlando, Florida with 4 open top 8s, an open win. He played striker and ran the 100-meter dash in high school. The black belt in Taekwondo, so I hope he doesn't take any of my jokes personally. His favorite bands are Brockhampton, The Tame,
dude,
Tomei.
You don't know, and you're going to embarrass yourself trying to pronounce it.
And Tool. I know Tool.
Yep.
I could pronounce that one. It was Tame Empanada. That's what it was.
I thought it was Impala. Oh, yes.
I like that.
I'm here for this.
I like that. That's dead. You are still getting Troned on turn 3, though.
Yeah, but at least you tried.
Yeah.
You threw a great punch.
Yeah, you feel good about that Night of Autumn? I'd feel good about it, too. Probably has a Mantis Rider now. I've never killed an expedition map in my entire life. Here we go. Whoa, hold on.
Spatial.
Nice.
Yep.
Bang. I hope.
Just Tron Karn.
No, Oblivion Stone. I'm hoping the spatial contortion took place after Brian attacked with both creatures, which it looks like it did because Julian's at 18, not 17. So
Yeah.
it's a little weird interaction there. Gaddock Tegan hand.
You feel comfortable adding more?
Look, you gotta get lucky.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yep. Or you
That'll
don't
work.
Yeah, that plays here.
In for 3 with Exalted.
Sweet Humans deck. All those humans.
Dry at night. Kifkin
Illusion.
Advisor. Yeah, Illusion. Kifkin Advisor. There you go. Grumpy old Gaddock Teague.
Cavern on Mongoose.
Yeah.
Just keep following up with the.
I think he drew a Mantis Rider. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
You're not done? You're not done?
Another human here.
You're not done?
Here comes another human. Phantasmal Image. Copy that. Look at the beatdowns here. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can't cast Ugin. So it would take Tron Peace plus O Stone. Not going to happen. Brian Basoco is going to tie things up here against Julian John. Well done, Brian.
Nice draw.
Yes. Yes, quite.
That's a nice draw.
David Long still up against David Thomas, and then it looks like Syed and Julian Job. Jonathan Job. Goodness. They are still battling out in game number 1 here. We're going to hear from some of our friends over at Ultimate Guard real quick about 2 new products that are coming, both the Ammonite Backpack and the Katana Sleeves. First Friday in February. So pick them up. Katana Sleeves, Ammonite, Anti-Theft, Backpack. And no, I'm not giving you one of either.
Come on. They're a little I don't want to say pricey, but it's a premium premium supply.
It's premium protection is what it is. Legacy's going to game 3. Standard's going to game 2. Updates, here we go. David Thomas tied it up. Zan Syed won game number 1 over Job. Going to game 3 here between John and Basoco.
You know what's really good against the Turbo Death deck?
Hold on. I'm going to let it marinate.
Yeah.
I believe the answer is 3 words.
Having a bunch of paths.
Path Exile.
Having a bunch of paths in your sideboard.
You're really driving it home. I like that you're on a thing and you stick with it until people change.
Yeah.
I think it all initially started with Gataxian Probe.
Yeah, I totally respect having a second Council's Judgment you can't cast and a second Graph Trigger's Cage you never bring in. But,
yeah.
For my money, I just want some more paths.
It started with the Probe.
Yep.
I think then you just ruined pile shuffling for everyone.
I didn't ruin it. I improved everyone else's life by making it less acceptable.
Manamorphose, I think.
Absolutely busted. Not even close to fine. Yeah. Why is that legal?
You're saying people should be playing Infect more for a while?
Yep.
There's another card that you were on the crusade about. I can't remember which one. Gataxian Probe is the most notable.
I'm now officially on an anti-Boros Angels.
Yeah, you're anti. Well, then you have your anti cards too. Yeah. You have your
Matter Shaper, Voice of Resurgence.
Yep, very anti-Ravenous Chupacabra. Yeah. Mostly what it stands for, like a politician.
Right. Emblematic of sculpting an environment where text boxes don't matter.
Yes. And now Lyra Dawnbringer is the newest one.
Just showing up with that thing like it's going to survive.
Yeah. 5 mana, 5/5, flying lifelink. Once it enters the battlefield, place it directly into the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Raven's crime for 5.
They're the same card.
It's the same card. Well, no, because it's got your opponent's got the out of moving a die on their planeswalker down 3.
You have a very eloquent, where some people might write an article and explain why Lyra Dawnbringer is not particularly good in the format. You have a much more eloquent way of doing it.
Just cast it for a while.
Yeah.
The best way. I think people need to learn to trust their own intuitions. That's a really powerful thing. So just cast it yourself for a little while. Tell me how many times you untapped.
I did enjoy the game where Lyra Dawnbringer came down that was smaller than both of the creatures on the battlefield.
It was the best. The best that Lyra looked this weekend is where it looked like it might get to chump block.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding, that was the best moment for Lyra so far.
It was against a 6-6 and a 5-6 when the opponent was at 11. It's been a tough weekend for the Dawnbringer. That's okay. Just a tough weekend.
Yeah. I can dig Aurelia more than I can dig Lyra. I'm not super interested in it, but it's cheaper and there's a better level of immediacy.
Okay.
Not super interested in casting either card game 1, but Aurelia I have more respect for.
Got it. I just like to know where you stand on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have what I feel to be a pretty good idea. That's important. All right, game number 3, Julian John, Brian Basoco. They're in game 3. David Long and David Thomas are in game 3. Zan Syed, Jonathan Job, they're about to head to game number 2. This one could end before Syed and Job finish their match. We'll try to hop around as best we can. But one thing to keep in mind here is that Julian John is on the play for game number 3.
And that game, as lopsided as it looked and was, it's 180 if John is on the play. Because he sacks his map instead of getting it blown up. He has Tron on 3, and that's probably it.
Sure.
So don't underestimate how much the die roll matters in terms of how these games look.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that for sure. Both players are going to take a look at their openers. Again, Julian John on the play here. We'll see if he wants to keep 7. Looks like Brian unhappy.
And it's a matchup where both players have to mulligan really aggressively because there is no margin for error.
All right, we're staying in Modern. We were going to hop over to Legacy, but David Thomas and David Long are still sideboarding and shuffling up a little bit here. All 3 matches are in the middle of sideboarding and shuffling. Looks like both these players are actually taking a mulligan. So, whichever match begins, I want to move to. I think Legacy. All right, we're going to Legacy. Here we go. I was right. See what David Thomas can do here. Sajiri's Step, hello.
Yeah, that gets the Merit Leaves through.
I love it. Stoneforge Mystic. No search, it looks like.
Okay.
I mean, he must have both equipment in hand.
Or he's taking out.
Equipment.
Yeah.
David Long taking a long look there with the Sylvan Library. Very powerful enchantment. They're not going to make anything like that again, if I had to hazard a guess.
Yeah, they sort of. I think that the design philosophy is much more let the planeswalkers be the personal howling mine, because at least combat is a mode of interaction.
Yeah. Thoughtseize. Batterskull. Ugh.
Not a great hand.
Ugh. Yeah, get ready to move back to modern. Not yet, but I'm not feeling optimistic here for David.
No, I mean, if the Chite goes away, he's got no cover against the combo at all.
Ugh. 3 lands of Batterskull and Numazawa's Jite. Gross. That is not it.
Please find your seats for round 1 of the 4 p.m. Modern Challenge.
Long, thinking pretty long about what to take here, though.
Surprising me that this was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of these cards matters a lot against some of his draws, and one of these cards I think doesn't matter at all. But
no, there's an Abrupt Decay. So we're going to go back over to David Long, who will Sylvan Library again.
gonna take them all here.
You got to pay to play. Just 1. So we're going to pay 4 life. Let's see what we got here.
4 p.m. Steel Spectacular players.
Thoughtseize.
Your seedings for deck construction are making their way to your pairings board.
Another land was drawn there by David Thomas, so there goes Batterskull. So I hope David Thomas draws a Brainstorm if you're rooting for him. Otherwise, this is going to be a tough game to win.
Yeah, maybe the Jace.
That would also be a good one. Sylvan Safekeeper providing a little bit of protection for the Merit Liege when it eventually shows up. Tundra, pass the turn back. Another Sylvan Library. Activation. Alright, what comes next here for David? Looks like no attack or anything.
Yeah, I mean, respecting Snapcaster Mage or Vendilion Click or something. I mean, I think as long as he has the Safekeeper, he's got a lot of protection against Thomas's interaction.
Well,
so.
that's the card that David needed to draw. He needed to draw Brainstorm. He's got fetch land on the battlefield, can shuffle away some of these lands, all that other stuff. So, perfect draw step there for David Thomas. He's going to play a fetch land and crack a Flooded Strand to make it a really good Brainstorm. You can take a look at the middle of the scoreboard if you're rooting for the team on the left. Julian John went Super Saiyan on Brian Basoco. Mono Green Tron takes care of humans. So the team on the left has 1 match win, and they are that much closer to the top 8. And if you are watching this game, you got to be feeling pretty good about where David Long is at.
Yep. Although the cantrips here from Thomas may be smoothing out this flood a little bit, but still a really good setup on the long side of the battlefield with Sylvan Library providing additional selection and then Sylvan Safekeeper as cover for interaction.
Yep. Am I going to get maybe a crop rotation here or something? Yeah. Looks like this is going to resolve. And what's interesting about this, too, is that he's crop rotating after Thomas has played a land, so he doesn't have to worry about wasteland.
Yeah.
One thing about Long, he really knows how to play these type of strategies very, very well. Yes. Yes. He's going to now go get a Thespian stage. Yeah. Yeah.
He's got the mana floating.
Yeah.
And Sylvan Safekeeper to cover everything.
Yeah. Doesn't have to worry about Jace. Doesn't worry about anything. As you mentioned, Safekeeper's right there. And of course, Sylvan Safekeeper says sacrifice land, give creature. What is it? Hexproof?
Yeah. I mean,
You control can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. That's Shroud.
so he needs to come up with 3 pieces of interaction to get through this.
Yeah, 3 swords. That's easy. He's going to shuffle with Ponder. Shocking.
Yep.
Yeah, David Long's so good at picking his spots when he plays decks like these. It's actually one of the fun things about watching him play.
Yeah, he's not waiting for the absolute perfect spot, but, you know, it's safe enough to go for it there.
Mm-hmm. Another Thespian stage. 20. I'm curious.
I think I would have sent the Safekeeper there.
Free point.
Blessed Alliance, like, it's not, you know, like you can't, what's the risk here of attacking with the Safekeeper? There are things that are Eik and Attacker that are not, like, it wouldn't be the most wild thing if Thomas had it.
All right, there's V-Click.
Yeah, it's not the extra point or whatever.
Does he get to block? Okay. I mean, it's still a really hard game for David Thomas to win, but I see what you're saying. Dark Confidant. So, no, Jace doesn't do anything. I'm just trying to figure out how he gets out. Safekeeper gives so much protection.
I'm not positive there is anything to be done here.
Yeah. And I don't have a great look at David Thomas' hand, but I see cards like Force of Will over there that don't matter. Delver of Secrets doesn't matter. He doesn't have access to Blessed Alliance in the sideboard or some sort of weird effect. Supreme Verdict doesn't matter. Not a Terminus deck. Just trying to think of if there's any way. Well, that's it. David Long, Julian John, Zan Syed will win this match, and they are headed to the top 8, while the team of David Thomas, Brian Basoco, and Jonathan Job are not. The team that was in first place after day 1.